Little Giant Boxing.
Ryan Garcia versus Romero on this tremendous card, Fatal Fury in Times Square. History being made. Props to Turki. You're on the broadcast. Talk about this tremendous fighting card.
Well, listen, man, Ryan Garcia is always exciting. You know, he's always going to be popular. All eyes on him. He's coming off a controversial fight with Haney, so he has a lot to prove and rectify with his not only his style but his image. You know, he needs to come back and prove that he can do everything without the issues that he had, the PEDs thing, whether it was true or not. So not only does he have to clean his image, he has to kind of convince people that he's still a power-punching, fast, popular fighter that can do it on the big stage. And he's in there against a fighter that's going to give him all the opportunities. And Romero comes to knock people out. You know, he has some holes in his defense. I think it's going to be a short, explosive fight where either of them could get hurt. Because Garcia's vulnerable defensively as well.
Ryan says 4 rounds, and he's out.
There you go, see? I was going to say 5, but yeah, man.
I've been hearing 4 and 5 from a lot of fans, either way, whether it's Rolly or
that fight
Ryan.
Doesn't go into the second half. Too much firepower, you know, too much defensive flaws as well from both these guys. So yeah, man, I think it ends under 5 or 6 rounds easily, but it's going to be exciting. See, all these fights are going to end in knockout except one of them. I think Teofimo Lopez and Barboza.
Full 12?
I think that one goes the full distance, and it's going to be a close fight. I think that one is on paper the best, most competitive 50-50 type fights. The other one, Rolly Romero and Ryan Garcia, we know who the favorite is, and we know it's probably going to end by knockout. Garcia's going to be somewhat of a favorite. And with Teofimo and Barboza, I just think, man, both of them have something to offer. And then Ramirez and Haney, that could be tricky. Depends what Ramirez we have. Ramirez didn't look good in his last 2 fights. Haney has a lot to prove. You know, even though he did have his moments against Haney, he's put down a lot. So I think that could be a tricky fight as well.
Sergio, you've been in the game your whole life. The day after, Canelo fights, and then on Sunday, Naoya Inoue fights. So, and obviously Munguia's in the co-main event with Canelo. So we're gonna see like what we would see in a month or 2, maybe 3, in 1 weekend.
Boxing at its best, and that's why I hear a bunch of shit saying that, you know, boxing's dying or boxing's.
Get the fuck out of here.
They don't know what they're talking about. Boxing's been dying for 100 years. Boxing is the absolute peak. We're getting the best fighting the best. We finally got an undisputed heavyweight champion in the 4-belt era. We're getting all these massive big fights. Better be than Bevo, even though fans are, you know, want to look at the negative side, the pay-per-view side, all this other stuff. No, they fought. We got an undisputed champion. We got Naoya Inoue undisputed champion. We got undisputed champions fighting because the money's being put up. So I don't want to hear all that nonsense. Boxing is a second to this or second to that. I'm excited that Ryan Garcia is fighting in New York.
And in Times Square.
In Times Square, in the middle of Times Square.
That's
Let me
crazy.
tell you, it's going to be nuts. I just came from there. It's going to be nuts. They're going to have to block off streets, but just like the imagery of that, just the sight's going to be unbelievable. All right, so then from Friday, I'm getting on a flight and going straight to Saudi for
10-hour flight.
That's right, going straight to Canelo. They're going to fight on a Sunday to accommodate the fans on this side of the world. So how is boxing dying? I mean, it's prospering, and a lot of it is because of this new influx of money, new interest from Turki alalshikh. But not only that,
shout out to Turki.
Shout out to Turki, and shout out to all the new players, even Dana White.
Dana White's getting in the mix. That's
Dana
good.
White wants to come in the mix. Hey, we welcome you. We welcome you. Want to make boxing
More
great
players
again?
in the mix.
Welcome to boxing, Dana White. Welcome everybody to boxing. As long as the best are fighting the best, come on.
Exactly. Which fight are you most excited about that whole weekend?
Yeah, it has to be Barboza Teofimo.
Oh shit.
It has to be Barboza Teofimo because
That's gonna steal the show.
Depends who you get, what Teofimo you get.
That's what he said.
We know what Barboza we're gonna get. Barboza sticks to a game plan. He's coming off the biggest win of his career. Momentum's on his side. He's gonna be hard to beat. Teofimo, we know he's had moments where he looks like a beast and some moments where he looks mentally frail. Which one are we gonna get? No excuses. This is the biggest fight. So that's going to be on paper the best fight, I think.
Teofimo himself said, "Who's your biggest rival?" And he said, "Myself." It's always me in my head.
Shit, I know exactly how that feels.
How does it feel?
I think a lot of athletes that have this Jekyll and Hyde side, this self-destructing side, and a lot of professional athletes that have...
Fill us in on that.
A lot of professional athletes that have had their life change overnight. Those are the ones that struggle with it the most. So, for instance, you know, you go from insufficient funds to 7 figures in your bank account. You don't know how to react to that. You know, a lot of fighters, a lot of athletes, not just fighters, you know, when they experience that, you know, they live their entire life poor with no attention. All of a sudden, they got you know, $1 million or more in their bank account, and they're getting everyone's attention. You know, they got
money,
cameras,
fame.
all that, man. You know, all of a sudden, you know, you forget about what got you there, and you just want to celebrate. And that's when you start juggling, you know, being a professional with being a celebrity, and that's when you can get in trouble. So I think Teofimo's gone through that. Every fighter's gone through that, man.
Ryan went through it. Oscar went through it.
Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto, all the greats have gone through it. And then once they get past that dark side, you know, there's a second chapter if they can get back, you know, from the dark side.
Beautiful. Sergio, where can we see more of your work aside from the broadcast?
Man, listen, I got enough work with DAZN, man. I love working for them. They're keeping me busy. Just signed a new deal with them. This is my 7th year with them. And now I've got this podcast with Chris Mannix, you know. So we're going to be doing a podcast at least once a week for the ring. We just tape one right now in studio.
Amazing.
So they got me busy with the podcast, with the fights, and yeah, man, I'm loving it. I've been doing this all my life. It's
You're
only
the best
right.
at it.
It's only
Respectfully
right.
tell the others.
It's only right that I continue doing it for the rest of my life, for however long you know I'm able to do it, man. But I appreciate guys like you and everyone else that follows the game.